Would like to welcome everyone to the Board of Directors meeting. We're here to set the agenda for the November 21st Board of Directors meeting, which will be at 6 o'clock. And before we get started with the agenda items that we're going to discuss, we have some presentations to make. And Bruce, we will start with you with the retirement recognition, please.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, members of the board. Another bittersweet time for us where we are honoring one of our long-term employees. Today we're honoring Michael McDonald from the Fleet Services Department. Michael has 26 years of service with us. Awards and honors included Fleet Employee of the Year in 2004. He worked his way from a team leader to a service coordinator. He's a retired volunteer firefighter for the Cane Creek Fire Department, past chairman of the board for the Cane Creek Fire Department, and past Grand Knight for Council 812 of the Knights of Columbus. Michael's favorite memory of working for the city, I've really enjoyed working with all my fellow co-workers and the other departments that we assist every day. Some of my best times were training the technicians and helping with the Boy Scout University. Plans for retirement include I'm excited about seeing my youngest grandchildren grow into fine adults. I plan on taking them fishing, hunting, and hiking. I will also sing in the choirs of St. Edward's and Little Rock and Holy Cross and Sheridan and do some woodworking. I'm excited about spending time with my wife and enjoying life. I will continue to help in my community by encouraging people to help their volunteer fire department, community, church, or school as needed. I do not plan to stop learning. At this time, let me ask the Director of Fleet Services, Mr. Willie Hinton, to come forward and make a few comments. Willie.
Members of the board, Mr. Moore, Michael is a fine employee. He's one of the most dedicated people you'll find. He's at work every day, and I think what hastens Michael's retirement is he's a newlywed. So I think he's wanting to spend more time with his wife than he's wanting to spend with me. So at this time, I'm going to ask Michael to come up and say a few words to you.
Michael, on behalf of the City of Little Rock, thank you for 26 years of dedicated service to the citizens and to your fellow departments. You really help keep Little Rock rolling, so thank you.
Thank you.
Say make a few comments.
Well, I've been enjoyed working for the city. I was kind of giving some little history to some of them that I never did tell anybody, but my grandfather retired from the city of Little Rock in 1926 as a captain with the fire department. He had injury from a back, so I have a cousin that's worked with the city as an assistant fire chief, so I guess that's why I like doing volunteer fire work. But I've always volunteered with whatever church I was at, and helping the city, like when we had the Boy Scout University and all. It's always good to train young people to further their education in whatever matter they want to go in, and always encourage people to strive to be better.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is your wife here?
No,
Okay.
she still had to work. So. Oh.
Yes, ma'am. And will all the members of the fleet team stand, please? Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Dan.
I'm going to get out of there.
Make it look really small. Kind of hard to get us both in there.
Oh, come on. I thought you wanted to do
Thank you for your service, and congratulations on your marriage. And Bruce, we're going to go back to you again. We've got some employees to recognize from Parks and Rec.
Vice Mayor, as you might be aware, there's Arkansas State Parks Association, and as you know, we're always very competitive, and they have a variety of awards that they offer. And I was very excited at the most recent Parks and Rec conference that we had 2 winners of Professional of the Year and Young Professional of the Year, and also our Summer Playground Program won Program of the Year. So at this time, let me call on John Eckert to come forward.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor, members of the board. This is my first time up here, so it's kind of momentous for me too. I really, take it in, soak it in a little bit. But no, we did go to the Arkansas Recreation Parks conference 2 weeks ago, and several of my staff went. And I think it's just a testament to the quality of people we have on board. Just several of these awards. I think we could win every award every year if we wanted to, and if the association would allow that. They have to obviously spread it around. So, with that said, first, the Professional of the Year for the Arkansas Recreation and Parks Association is Sherry Shin, and she is our Therapeutic Recreation Department leader manager. So, come on. She does a fantastic job, and if you haven't been out to see their operation out there, it's truly impressive and something special for our city. Second award goes to Young Professional of the Year, and it's Grant Morris. Grant is our special projects coordinator for the department. Does a great job. Is always helpful and is really energetic and great asset to our department. Summer Playground Program won the Program of the Year. I think you all are very familiar with this. 95 years running. It is something special that the city has going for it, and I think something we want to continue to accentuate as part of our department and what we do. So, Gil and Daryl, if you'll come up. Wanda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to all of those who won. Angela Rogers. We are going to have a brief presentation on the Big Jingle Jubilee Parade.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I will make this brief. I know you've got a lot of meeting to do ahead of this, but I am Angela Rogers, and honored enough to continue my role as the Big Jingle Jubilee Holiday Parade organizer. And it's coming up Saturday, December 2nd. My lovely assistant here is passing out a little treat for you that has the date on there. And as usual, we're here to invite you guys to not only participate in the parade, but to ride on the great antique fire truck that we have for you. And we'll have tons of candy for you to pass out to all the big kids and little kids. So it's Saturday, December the 2nd at 3 p.m. and the starting location is at 2nd and Broadway. And for further information, holidaysinlittlerock.com. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you guys can join us.
Thank you very much. We have some teams to recognize, and the director for that ward isn't here, and I've been told that it is my duty to do this, so I will go down. So actually, it's a real honor to get to do this. On October the 17th, the Pulaski Academy Bruins won the 5A boys and girls tennis state championships at our own facility, Rebsamen Tennis Center, in Director Wright's ward. Both teams are coached by Bill Topich. Kevin Kelly is the athletic director. Greg Griffith is the head of the upper school, and Matt Walsh is president and head of school. First up, we're going to recognize the ladies' teams. So if we could get all the members of the girls' team to come on up. And the Bruin ladies edged out Lakeside High School by 1 point to take home the girls' team championship. Lakeside was the defending champion, and they shared it with Pulaski Academy in 2015, which makes this year's win even sweeter for Pulaski Academy. Caroline Gibbons, Piper Greer, Grace Harris, and Abby Minton were named to the 2017 All-State team, and no other school in 5A division had 4 girls on the All-State team. And I will present the plaque, we'll get a picture, and then we'll ask everybody on the team to introduce herself. And if you're a senior, if you know where you're going to school, if you will say that. So, on behalf of the mayor, the board of directors, and city manager Bruce Moore, we want to congratulate the Pulaski Academy Bruins 5A girls 2017 tennis state champions. In the quest for the championship, the players and coaches exemplified outstanding sportsmanship, participation, leadership, responsibility, and teamwork. We could also, if the coach is here, if we could get the coach to come up and join us. I think it helps us get in a little bit closer to get.
Hi everyone, I'm Abby Minton. I'm a senior and I have absolutely no idea where I'm going to school yet, so.
Hi, I'm Caroline Gibbons. I'm a senior as well, and I'm going to be going to Iowa State University.
Hi, I'm Riley Jett, and I'm a senior, and I will be attending the University of Arkansas next year.
Hi, I'm Grace Harris. I'm a senior, and I don't know where I'm going to school next year.
I'm Piper Greer, and I'm a freshman, so I really don't know where I'm going. Hi, my name is Via Brefitt, and I'm just living in the moment. I don't know where I'm going yet.
And we also have plaques for the doubles championship. Caroline Gibbons and Abby Minton defeated a team from Valley View 6-7, 6-4, 6-4. To get to the championship, they defeated teams from Valonia, Valley View, and Lakeside. Abby won the state championship in doubles 2 years ago, but this is Caroline's first state championship. So.
Over here real quick.
Oh gosh. Thank you.
Okay, and now on to the boys team. Pulaski Academy beat Lakeside by 7 points to capture the boys team championship. This is the third consecutive year that Pulaski Academy has won the 5A boys tennis state championship. Jake Bridges, Foster Rogers, Tyler Angtuaco, and that's good? Okay. And Jock Lewis were named to the 5A tennis all-state team. And so if we could have the boys come on up, and we will present the team plaque and the coach. That is a fancy coat. That is great. And after we present the plaque, if you'll each introduce yourself as well and say where you're going if you're a senior. So Mayor Mark Studla, the City Board of Directors, and City Manager Bruce Moore congratulate the Pulaski Academy Bruins 5A Boys 2017 Tennis State Champions. In the quest for the championship, the players and coaches exemplified sportsmanship, participation, leadership, responsibility, and teamwork. Congratulations. Do a photo, and then we're going to do the introduction.
I'm Jake Bridges, and I'm a senior. I'm going to the University of Arkansas. My name's Jack Lewis, and I'm a freshman, so I don't really know where I'm going to college.
My name is Foster Rogers, and I'm a sophomore.
My name's Samuel Shami, and I'm a junior.
My name is Connor Elliott, and I'm a sophomore.
Hi, my name is Tyler Angtuaco, and I'm a junior.
I think y'all have a lot more people coming back than you do on the girls' team. Sophomore Foster Rogers won the 5A boys singles championship. Last year he got to the finals in the boys doubles, and he is one of a very small group of athletes to have made the finals in singles and doubles. On the way to the championship this year, he defeated players from Nettleton, Magnolia, and Valley View, and in the finals he faced his teammate Jake Bridges. And they played a hard-fought match, but Foster edged him 6-4, 7-6. So, Foster. On October 24th at Burns Park, Foster won the boys singles overall state championship by winning an all-Little Rock final and defeating a player from Catholic High. And to show how dominant Little Rock is in tennis, Foster defeated players from Baptist Prep and Episcopal Collegiate on his way to the final. So congratulations for all you. Thank you all, and thank all the parents for being here tonight as well. Now we will move to the agenda. And the first two items for next week are the modifications. We have one addition, which is the Arts Center bonds, and we have one withdrawal at the applicant's request. Do we have any questions about the modifications? Okay, if you would, okay, I'm sorry, I just now saw this. Director Adcock?
For those listening at home, that do not know what the withdrawal was, I would like for staff to tell what the withdrawal is and on what conditions it could come back.
Okay.
Director Adcock, this is to approve a planned zoning development and establish a planned residential district called the Hamilton Apartments, located at 14524 and through 14810 Cantrell Road in Little Rock. This was withdrawn at the applicant's request, which means that he would have to notify the city at some point if this were to, if this were to come back. But it's my understanding it's his intention not to bring it back in this form.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Thank you, Director Adcock. If you will look now to the consent agenda, we have 9 items on the consent agenda.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Item number 1 needs to be separated from the consent agenda and set as a public hearing. The statute requires that people be given a chance to challenge the amount of the lien. I can tell you that no one has ever come and challenged the amount of the lien, but we're still required to do it that way.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Thank you very much. Director Wright?
Yes, my question was going to be how much in liens are we talking about?
Let me ask the Director of Housing and Neighborhood Programs, Mr. Turner, to come forward.
Vice Mayor, members of the board, there are 377 properties totaling $107,657.
And Mr. Moore, what happens to this money? Does it go back into the housing budget?
Yeah, I believe Treasury does track that to go through.
It does.
Yeah.
So they can use this money for other projects in the community?
Correct.
Okay. He can stay there because my next question, if I may, was on the home program. It says $570,650 for constructing 4 single-family dwellings. Where are these houses and how much per house?
One of the houses is on 3502 Cobb,
okay,
1308 South Jones, and then 2 of the properties are at the old VA site. It's the Hyde Park subdivision off Charles Bussey that was demolished.
And how much per structure?
The bids came back. The one on Cobb is $149,916. 1308 Jones is $143,734, and the 2 at the old VA site is $138,500.
Okay, now are we trying to sell them at that price too?
That would be the list price for them, yes, ma'am. Now, keep in mind we also offer home buyer subsidies for people that don't qualify for the sales price.
Okay, because I know at 120 to 130, they will sell in Ward 6, but yeah. I'm not familiar with them selling at 150,000.
Yes, ma'am. We always list the price at what we have in it, so we don't drive down what the value is in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood. Okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Director Adcock?
Mr. Moore, on item 5 and 6, I would like to keep these 2 separate. I've got some questions, and I would like to know if we've had any complaints on either one of these. If so, what was the complaints and how was they solved? And if there's been any accidents on either one. Also on item number 7, can you tell me how Dunbar Community Center and Oppenheimer Therapeutic Center was selected for item 7?
We have been working on this concept for a period of time, and I was looking. Obviously, I wanted some diversity from the geographic standpoint. Dunbar made sense because we have used that as a emergency operations center just about in every disaster we've had. I only thought we were going to get one when we got two, I wanted to, again, be diverse from a geographic standpoint, so we looked at Southwest Little Rock. And
I was wondering, though, why we went to Oppenheimer. It's a small building. It's a very old building. It's in just one neighborhood, and we do not use it during cold weather or hot weather. And you have Southwest Community Center that is used, just like you said, Dunbar was selected because they are a center that we use for cold and hot weather.
Yeah, and I'll have to visit with our emergency manager and our parks director. There was some logic that went into it, but I'll visit with them.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to hold it separate, too.
So number 7, separate as well. Director Wyrick?
My questions were in regards to item 7, but since I have the microphone, can someone tell me on item 8 what it is we're purchasing for $59,500? It says One Smith Detection Hazmat ID Elite, and I don't know what that item is. I'm sure it's important, but.
Oh, Nathan probably can talk about the logic around Oppenheimer too. So I'm sorry, I didn't know you were here. So,
Vice Mayor Board, thank you. If I can, a little bit on the storm shelter project. I've kind of got a brief here. The first project, like Bruce had mentioned, the Dunbar Community Safe Room, has a capacity to house approximately 95 to 100 people. The official mission of that shelter is to house the community center members and staff of the Dunbar Community Center. But after hours, it can be used as a community safe room as well. But like I said, the first priority is to house the community center, the children that are there in the event of a tornado. The Oppenheimer Community Safe Room, a capacity of 65 to 70 people. One of the things that FEMA looks at when they're giving out grant dollars is vulnerable populations. And Oppenheimer would qualify as a vulnerable population based on the therapeutic recreation they do there. So we got a little extra, I guess, sway as far as getting additional grant money because of the therapeutic recreation portion of that shelter there. So and it can also be used as a community safe room as well after hours and stuff. So and what we envision in the Emergency Management Division is for this to be just a start of projects. We'd like to include additional community safe rooms at all the city community centers within the city as soon as grant funding becomes available. So, and for the Hazmat ID Elite, it's really a hazmat detection device for white powder, suspicious packages, stuff that you cannot readily identify with, say, pH paper or the conventional hazmat detection devices. It's an expensive piece of equipment, but for what the hazmat teams do, everything is really expensive in that realm of what they're doing. So to get an accurate reading on a white powder, something like that, you need the expensive equipment. So.
I wasn't familiar with the name of it. Are we sharing this with other cities that?
And part of our agreement of accepting the Homeland Security dollars, and the city of Little Rock is the largest recipient of the Homeland Security dollars within the state of Arkansas. And part of that agreement is that we kind of function within a regional format with Pulaski County, the city of Conway, North Little Rock Fire, that if they need that equipment as well, we can respond to that area and share that equipment with them. And that's really part of the days of each city, each county getting their own funding and being able to keep that within themselves is over with. You know, with the cutbacks of the federal funding through the Homeland Security Grant Program, you have to spread it out more, and that's kind of what we agree to do when we accept the money, and we're happy to accept the money. It really does a good deal of service for the city of Little Rock. So.
Okay. I wasn't aware of what the equipment was. It sounds like it's something that we could really use, so I appreciate the information.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you get that out of my purse?
We have 2 items. I'm sorry, Director Wright, I didn't see your.
No, mine is on the separate item. 12.
Okay, we have planning and development items 10 and 11, and then we will move to item 12. If there are no questions on 10 and 11, we'll go ahead and address Director Wright's question. What's yours on? Okay, let's take those first. So, Director Wyrick.
Could I have a report on item 11?
Let me ask our planning director, Mr. Collins, to come forward.
Vice Mayor, members of the board, Director Wyrick, what this is, they're requesting to rezone the property from a C3 conditional use. The conditional use was for auto repair. It's a glass repair business for the auto place there. And they're seeking the C4, which is the outside sales, to sell some automobiles on there. And then there's a limit on how close to the right-of-way they can be. It's within 20 feet of the from the right-of-way is where their storage of their outdoor sales for their vehicles are to be. And as you can see on the lot, it's a pretty, small lot as is. It's only 100 foot wide in total, about 200 foot in depth. So the number of units that they can place on there, the cars will be minimal.
What type of ordinances kick in regards to landscaping with this rezoning?
Well, since it's when they actually do the work, proposed development of the site. Rezoning don't necessarily kick it in unless it's a planned development they're proposing to do changes to the property. Since this is going to a straight C3 zoning, they're not proposing any additional landscaping or any type of
So we don't have a requirement for them to upgrade landscaping at this location with the change of their zoning?
The requirement for landscaping kicks in when it was an existing use that's been there prior to the landscaping ordinance, when they do certain types of development or improvements, and there are certain percentages that would kick that in. So just changes of zoning doesn't necessarily every time kick that improvement in.
Well, I know we can't legislate unsightly locations, but this location has had a hard time keeping tenants through the years. It's changed to different types of businesses along the way. And I know in Southwest we're looking to have more attractive locations, landscaping, those kinds of things. And so that's the reason I'm asking the question. I really thought when you change zoning, anytime, that you had some parts of the landscape ordinance that kicked in.
Well, not every zoning change. I can get a list to you about which ones when they do kick in.
Okay, I'd like to know that.
For you and get that out so you can know when they do.
Okay, I'd like to know that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Wyrick, that was one of the reasons that they did an overlay district on some of the properties off of West Markham, so that when there was a rezoning or a change, then it would have to do more.
I think you're going to be hearing more about Southwest in the future for those types of things, so thank you.
Before we move on to Director Wright's question on 12, I'll ask Director Adcock, is yours on 10 or 11? 11? Okay, we'll go ahead and do yours first and then go to 12.
Mr. Collins. Since this was formerly the Waffle House, and there's not much room there beside that building, where are they going to place automobiles, and are they limited on how many they can have?
There's no limit that we placed on there in that zoning for the number they can have. The only limit that's listed is they cannot store that outdoor sales within 20 feet of the right-of-way. And just the size of the lot would limit the number of automobiles that they could sell at that place. And they are keeping the current operation in use.
Several years ago, there was lots of laws pertaining to used car lots in Arkansas. And I have not seen those followed lately. Has that changed? Such that you used to have so many feet, you used to have outside signage and everything. And evidently that's not being followed now, so has that changed?
Well, I don't know specifically the answer to that question as far as particularly this site. I'm not aware of any change as far as our zoning codes and our signage, which was implemented for any, use that they're going to be putting in.
There is a used car lot on the corner of Wakefield and 65th Street, and it has been there about a year, and they do not have a car for sale sign outside.
Okay.
It says used tires. And that's why I was wondering if it has changed or if we just haven't been noticing that we've got some without signage.
I'll have to check in with that and get back with you on that answer. I can't remember specifically about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll move to item 12, and Director Wright has a question.
I think you can probably come back, Jamie. I think this is you, isn't it? I'd like a presentation on this, and if you could put up the map so I can see, or is that John? That John? Okay.
If you'd come forward, please.
Vice Mayor, board members, Director Wright. This is a request by the developer who is developing a restaurant in an outlot in the parking lot of this development. It's along Markham. It's where Burlington Coat Factory, just to locate it for everybody. There's a restaurant that's going to be going in the parking lot on the front of that. They're asking for a deferral of the right-of-way dedication that comes as part of that development. There you can see, they're in the very far corner of that parking lot. Per the master street plan, they're required to dedicate right-of-way for the full length of that development along Markham. Markham Street is currently built to the standard that we require. That's why at this point staff is supportive of a deferral for 5 years of that right-of-way dedication along their frontage.
Okay, because I know some work was being done in that area. That was us doing that, right?
The work that was done in Markham, that was actually wastewater. Replacing a very large sanitary sewer that ran down the street. That's the work that you saw out there for a long period of time.
Yes, I know.
They were actually rehabbing an existing line. It wasn't something that was associated with the project that we have currently going.
Okay, so is there any opposition to this restaurant?
I believe the restaurant is already
approved.
It's already approved at this point. It's just a matter of they're asking for the deferral of the right-of-way dedication.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Items number 13 and 14 will be separate on the agenda, but does anybody have a question about either of those?
13 and 14 could be grouped together.
Okay. And the public hearing is item 15 is the one that was withdrawn. So that takes us to, wait, I'm sorry, Director Hendricks. Okay, that takes us to
But you will have a public hearing. That's where you will move item number 1 from the consent agenda.
But we won't have the particular one that's here. So that takes us to the end of setting the agenda. I have Director Hendricks.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to ask Mr. Carpenter, what is this that you gave me? Is it reference to term limits?
Director Hendricks, you sent an FOI request today to me that asked for term limits for the city. I responded by email that there are no term limits for the elected officials, and asked if you meant for any other positions. Because I didn't get an answer, I went and looked at the resolution that the city passed initially in '89, and then it was amended in 2006. It sets term limits for boards and commissions. So 8096 is the original one, 12313 is the amendment, and then the other 2 or 3 in there are the times when the board by resolution hasn't allowed an additional term on one of its boards or commissions.
Tom, hold that. I made reference in my email to you that I want is as comparable as we're talking about changing when we raise money. And you're picking up the statute from the state of Arkansas. That's my interpretation. And I ask you to tell me, we have term limits in the State House, don't we?
No. In the State House?
Yeah.
Yes, there's a constitutional amendment that set term limits for State House.
Right, so that's what I'm talking about.
But, so you want a copy of the State House Amendment, Amendment 73 and so
I
forth?
want you to prepare for me as much preparation as you're putting in attempting to raise funds earlier as the state because of Warren Saverin, okay?
Right, and that's what I'm doing in terms of the memorandum that I'm preparing for you and the cases that have dealt with that.
I'm not accepting this as an answer, okay? Thank you.
Director Hendricks,
Don't talk to me.
that's not the response to your request for a memorandum. That was just an FOI request, and we have a time frame, so that's what I
And the
provided.
reason why I'm asking you, I think you noticed on the bottom, I have counsel, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions,
Okay,
we
you're
will
crazy. I don't want
get
you.
back together next Tuesday, right?